Well, hello again, Covenant Church. Aaron Dean here with your Covenant Daily. And today I wanted to talk about how to make decisions when the Bible is seemingly silent. This seems to have come up a lot lately as I've had the privilege and opportunity to speak with many of you from the church, just checking in on you, having lengthy conversations with these stay-at-home orders, and it's really been a great experience. And often in those conversations, questions come up about decisions. And so I'm going to assume that these are decisions that the Bible doesn't expressly forbid or encourage. And I'm also going to assume and recommend that you have been praying. The Bible does say that in James that if anyone lacks wisdom, he's to ask God, and God freely gives that wisdom without reproach. So take that is in the Word, and you should be praying about it. And certainly there are some decisions that are more important than others, such as whom you marry, where you live, things like that. So what I tend to do is have a criterion. One of the criteria I use if the Bible seems silent is I will then think about the responsibilities that God has given me. So for me, I'm a husband and a father. So how will any decision affect that as a godly husband, as a godly father to 4 children? And for example, when we moved here from California and we were contemplating what to do, I had essentially a very nice job offer, land in my lap, a neighbor who was fairly well connected and just seemed to receive our family well, pulled some strings basically, and I was offered a job that would have been very high paying, and was in my wheelhouse, which had an insurance background, was basically going to be a territory rep. And as I thought about it, it solved a lot of the problems we had at the moment, like what are we supposed to do next? The income was there to provide for a family of 6, etc. But the reality is as I contemplated deeper, it would have taken me away from my family much more than I was comfortable with. Given the fact that we just moved here and there was a lot of situating that needed to happen with my kids' hearts. And that's not to say that taking a job that takes you away is necessarily wrong or evil. I realize some of you have that, but it wasn't wisdom for my family at the time. And so I turned that down, and obviously it wasn't part of God's plan, which is why I'm talking to you today. But so I would say consider your God-given responsibilities and how it might affect them. Other things that often we don't think about, such as renting or purchasing a house. Have you given thought to the fact that the Bible does tell us to be part of a local congregation? And I know for my family that I will never purchase another house until I have chosen the church that I will attend. That's a commitment I have, because I realize a church that's 45 minutes away is not going to be conducive to a spiritual life there and connectedness because of the distance. So thinking through things like that, the Bible doesn't say what church to attend or what job to take, but really it does speak to these things in different ways. And so I would encourage you to look at your situations from that vantage point. I would also encourage you to check your motives. There are many good things that might be right for one person and not for another. And so to be honest with yourself, what are your motives in making this decision? Is this going to move you closer to God? Is this going to move you closer to the roles you have? Is it as a father, husband, daughter, son, mother, brother, these things that the Bible does speak about? Is it gonna challenge your attitudes, convictions, or faith? Is it a decision that's going to take you away from Sunday morning worship? These things, so the Bible does speak about. I would also recommend getting counsel. Godly counsel, that's in Proverbs as well. And I would just say that having done all those things, just make a decision. Some people are paralyzed by fear. And, the beautiful thing about understanding God's sovereignty is that our decisions do matter, and yet God moves through them to accomplish His will for us and for His glory. And so you need to have that confidence. I meet some people that are so paralyzed by making the wrong decision, and I just want to encourage you, that's not the way to look at it. That's not what the Bible would lay out as far as God's sovereignty in our lives. So there's more we could talk about, but I would just simply sum up with this, that if you've done those things, then make a decision and trust God. You're not going to fall outside of His will. And be encouraged, and I look forward to talking to you soon.